NDP4 will be deposited in the parliamentary library. I will instruct the clerk to cause its circulation to all members for its reference. In addition, I want to urge all the committees to ensure that the ministerial policy statements currently under consideration inform to the NDP4 that has just been laid. So there shouldn't be an excuse that we cannot start working because we don't have NDP4. Next.
Item 4 on the order paper.
I'm going to give you after this one.
Item 4 on the order paper.
Yes.
Motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow up to United States dollars 100 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADEA, private window. United States dollars 50 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADEA, public window.
And United States dollars 25 million from the OPEC Fund for International Development, OFID, to capitalize Uganda Development Bank, UDB.
Honorable members, as you may recall, on Wednesday, 5th February 2025, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development tabled a proposal to authorize government to borrow USD 100 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, that is BADEA, private window, USD 50 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADEA, public window, USD 25 million from OPEC Fund for International Development to capitalize UDB. On 25th February, the House stood over the consideration of the motion pending further harmonization between the committee and other relevant stakeholders. I guided since then. The initial motion had to be separated, the two motions. One was for borrowing and the other was for guaranteeing. The two items will be distinguished from each other and we will consider them separately. Pursuant to Article 159(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Rule 155 of the Rules of Procedure, I will now invite the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to move a motion to that effect on the borrowing. And the money that we are talking about is for capitalization of UDB. And in the capitalization of UDB, this is where our people are going to get to borrow money from at a better interest rate. Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, the Minister of Finance has read documents and taken them away. He read National Development Plan 4. He has just taken it away. Now, before we allow him to...
Can I have my documents back?
He has just taken them away.
Honorable, please, can we have our documents back? Can we have our documents back? If you want, can we have the documents? Bring them here. Francis, thank you.
Madam Speaker and colleagues, I beg to move a motion.
Where are the shadow reports? Look. Okay. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move a motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow up to US dollars 100 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, BADEA, private window, US dollars 50 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa Badea Public Window, and US dollars 25 million from the OPEC Fund for International Development to capitalize Uganda Development Bank Limited. I beg to move.
Seconded. Seconded by Honorable Bahati, Mamawi James, Faith, Honorable Gwang, Honorable Lokeris, Honorable Uda, Honorable Solomon, Foyo Chan, Ibanda, Alanyo, Okumu, Aru, Susan Amero, by elders, by Angura, Okot, David, Abudu, Finance, Mbarara, Margaret, by the majority on this side. Can you speak to tell us if you made harmonization and why you're borrowing?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, remember these reports were already presented. It was only for harmonization. Minister, go ahead.
Madam Speaker, as you have just stated, this motion is not being moved for the first time. I moved a consolidated motion which included a request to authorize the government to borrow up to the figures I have just stated, and also a motion. In the same motion, I requested the government to guarantee UDB an amount of $100 million. In the debate, two issues arose. Why do we put together a guarantee and a borrowing at the same time? And in the wisdom of the House, they asked us to go back and separate the two motions. Point two is that the lender, which is Badea, had not approved the 150 million borrowing. Now I wish to inform the House that the board of Badea sat on March 6th and approved the borrowing of 150 million, which evidence I have presented to the committee, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think among some of the issues which were raised, where the minister was supposed to report back with to give answer to this House was
equity.
Equity, the list of people who benefit from this, who have benefited. I think that is one of the issues you raised. But also, Madam Speaker, when we went into privatization, we privatized all government banks. And we have been talking about UDB and trying to capitalize it. But this seemed to be only one central bank centralized in Kampala, which is where the money is accessed by very few people.
I wanted to know from government when they will at least maybe decentralize it at the regional levels. Because now we are talking about UDB, it does not portray any national characteristics. And even if one goes to there to access money, the hurdles you jump until you give up. You cannot know who are the people who are accessing money from this UDB bank. It seems to be a bank for some specific people whom we are alienated. So, I think I want to appeal to government.
Thank you.
If you want to put bank in place, which
Chair,
must be
Chair,
helpful.
first listen, leave the minister to listen.
If we want to put a bank which should be helpful to all Ugandans, then we should at least put it at a regional level. We have sub-regions or maybe regional levels, but to have one bank centered in Kampala and we think it is helpful to all Ugandans, I think this must be changed. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Minister, does this bank give people in the villages also some money outside the Kampala city?
Madam Speaker, first, all the information the honorable colleague wants us to provide is available in our records. However, this is the bank that deals with the private sector, and there is a client relationship which the bank has with its borrowers. And one of the conditions is that the bank shall keep the bank shall confidentially keep the information of its clients. Madam Speaker, this debate, this question is not new. It has arisen before, and what we did when it arose, we preferred to share information with you, Right Honorable Speaker, but not the public.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Minister. Colleagues, what the Minister need to do for us, all country-wide, worldwide, they have a UDP. But the resource that government is allocating in UDP is limited and small, cannot serve this country. What we need to do is to ensure that you capitalize UDP with adequate funding so that it can serve the people of Tororo, Arua, and so forth. But as of now, the resource in UDP is so limited that the investment that we need, that it cannot address.
Honorable member, you don't
Madam Speaker.
My ears are getting me.
Sorry, Madam Speaker.
You don't have to shout for anybody to hear you.
Yes, Madam Speaker, my request is that 100, the resource that...
Honorable members, what we need is equity in giving out this money. That is number one. And that will not stop us from first capitalizing the institution. We need to capitalize the institution, and then after that we now make sure the sectoral committee should make sure that there is equity in disbursement of these loans. It does not mean that other people do not qualify for this money. Yes. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, the equity that honorable members are asking about, we have investors across the country. UDB is serving our interests, whereas the funding is not enough, but it is only visible within the people in the center.
But also the other thing is, have you applied and you have been rejected?
Madam
Maybe you
Speaker,
don't qualify. Now let me speak from the banking perspective. For you, you must be credible enough. You must be credible for you to be able to qualify for a loan. Yes.
But Madam Speaker, investment has been spreading across the country. We have potential investors, myself in Tororo and Honorable Kanya, we have people who want to access this funding. But because it is not well saturated in terms of information, and otherwise our people remain hanging around microfinance, Myoga, and those. Let's request this bank to open forth in the regional headquarters, or create branches, spread them, and our people will go there. I want to assure you, they will be eligible and they will benefit from these resources. I thank you very much.
Honorable members, when you talk about that, increase the money so that the money is distributed so that we have a better outreach.
Madam Speaker, first of all, I entirely want to concur with you, and I want to request honorable colleagues here that we need to increase the money for UDB. Why do I say this? As of yesterday, I was in Hoima City checking on the progress of our stadium, and one of the requests from the business community from the Hoima City in terms of hotels, they asked us government to help them get a cheap loans from UDB. So friends, I entirely want to ask us that, can we support this loan for purpose of helping our people benefit from financing their bankable projects for purpose of supporting the economy? I thank you so much.
Esther? You mean you want to debate on what is obvious?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to stand here and confirm to you that in one of our oversight visits as members of Parliament, I happened to attend one of the functions that UDB was undertaking after giving money to a company, a seed company called Totco in Lira, that is Lango sub-region. This company had been in operation for a long time, but needed a major funding source to uplift their services because they're a very big grain company. It is at that point that I realized that UDB is actually doing a great job for those who are playing at the levels that they are supporting. I also know that not all areas may have benefited from UDB because of the qualifications that are required. But I want to support UDB because I know that this time round when they get this money, they will make the Totcos of this country more financially stable and empower most of other seed companies in northern Uganda.
Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have teachers and students of Trust High School. That is from Chadondo, County East, Wakiso. They are represented by Honorable Mwada Nkunwinji and Honorable Ethel. Ethel.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Allow me, on behalf of the people of Chadondo East and Wakiso, and also on behalf of parliamentarians, to welcome our students, our teachers. You are most welcome to Parliament. This is where we are really deliberating for you, and we are making sure that children of Uganda are in good state. Continue to pray for us.
Thank you. Honorable members, join me in welcoming those students. And honorable members, this issue was deliberated upon the other time, and we're only left with that clarification. And because we're only left with that clarification, we are going for the guarantee. The next one is the guarantee. Okay? Haj. I'm going to put a question on this and then we go for the guarantee.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Specifically, from a technical point of view, I was wondering if there's a borrowing from Badea as a point. It presupposes that we are not doing well. We need to recapitalize the bank. The borrowing presupposes that the country is not doing well and we have to recapitalize the bank. At the same time, we are considering a guarantee. A guarantee presupposes that the guarantor is a surety who is doing well, which is which. Because you cannot have borrowing at the same time, you're also a guarantor. Guarantor presupposes you are doing well. So there's a conflict. You just have to really harmonize that. If you are coming here as borrowers,
thank you.
The assumption is that we are
badly off somehow. At the same time,
Not really badly, they are short.
Yes, but now
they have more customers than what they have as a disposable.
Yes, but right now, you turn out also to
money
be
to be given out.
A guarantor. So harmonize that, please.
Thank you. Honorable member. No, the report was read here.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, the Minister has said the documents and information that Parliament asked for which we laid this loan, that he has supplied it to the committee. I thought, Madam, you allow the committee even if they just confirm that they received the information.
Chair, have you got the report? Chair, can you confirm if you got it?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, with me here is a loan agreement from Badea for $100 million. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Honorable members, I put a question that the motion for resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow up to USD 100 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badea. Private window, USD 50 million from Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badea. Public window, USD 25 from OPEC Fund for International Development to capitalize Uganda Development Bank, UDB, be approved by this House. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Item 5 on the order paper. Motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize government to guarantee Uganda Development Bank Limited to directly borrow up to United States dollars 40 million from the Islamic Development Bank IDB, United States dollars 30 million from the Islamic Corporation for Development of the Private Sector ICD, and United States dollars 30 million from the International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation ITFC.
Honorable members, as I guided earlier on, this motion was initially part of the previous one, but we had to distinguish them between the borrowing and then the guarantee. And that's where they have inherent uniqueness. And pursuant to Article 159(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Rule 155 of Rules of Procedure, I will invite the Minister of Finance to move a motion, after which we will receive a report from the committee for the proposal.
Madam Speaker, in line with Article 159 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 34 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and Rule 56 and 155 of Parliamentary Rules of Procedure, I beg to move a motion for a resolution of Parliament to approve the proposal for government to guarantee Uganda Development Bank Limited to borrow up to US dollars 40 million from the Islamic Development Bank, US dollars 30 million from the Islamic Corporation for Development of the Private Sector, and US dollars 30 million from the International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation. I beg to move. Right, Honorable
Seconded. Seconded by Honorable Gwang, Honorable Lokeri, Zuda, Gabriel Okwalinga, Alayo, Esther, Ibanda, Nekesa, Mutembule, Aru, Emmanuel, Songa, Lilian, Gogonyo, Palisa, Max,
Noah, Annette, Margaret, Faith, John Faith, Mamawi James, Faith again, Wilson, Ibanda, Kabong, David, Goli. Yes, speak to it. Abim, would you speak to your motion? Honourable members, the guarantee that they did not have any problem. We are guaranteeing the UDB to have that money, and they will be paying the money themselves. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I moved this motion some time back and it had no problem. Only to confirm that these loans guaranteed by government will not directly impact on the government debt. They will only do so if UDB fails to repay the loans. And the amount that UDB will not have paid is what will become a liability to government. Madam Speaker, since there is nothing I'm changing, I want to beg that the House considers this motion.
Thank you. Chair. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it's true this is a guarantee. This is a report of the Committee on National Economy to guarantee Uganda Development Bank, UDB, Limited, to directly borrow up to USD 40 million from the Islamic Development Bank, $30 million from the Islamic Corporation for Development of the Private Sector, and USD 30 million from the International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation. That's a total of $100 million. Honorable Speaker, we interacted with the Minister of Finance, UDB, and a number of other beneficiaries. Let me take you to Honorable Speaker, by the end of November 2024, UDB capitalization stood at 1.5 trillion, composed of 1.2 trillion as government contribution and retained earnings of 211 billion. However, this remains undercapitalized, thus limiting the bank's ability to carry out its core business and mandate. Uganda Development Bank Limited funding needs have grown over the last 2 years, and the bank needs to disburse an average of Uganda shillings 1 trillion per year in new disbursements. The exponential growth in funding needs is due to the growth of the economy, which is attributable to business expansion coupled with UDB's favorable terms and value proposition. UDBL lends at not more than 12% per annum for up to 15 years, which makes it the only bank that can offer favorable and long-term tenure capital in the economy. Honorable Speaker, according to UDB annual report 2023, as of December 2023, its total assets stood at 1.67 trillion with a gross loan portfolio of 1.58 trillion. The cumulative loan portfolio of the bank is 2.5 trillion over a period of 7 years from 2017 to 2023. 70% of the bank's financing is directed towards agriculture and industry, leading to creation of 51,841 jobs maintained in 2023. Right Honorable Speaker, as per performance of previous lines of credit, to date UDBL has secured 15 lines of credit with a value of $158.5 million from 8 multilateral development partners. 92% of the lines of credit have been disbursed to various projects. Out of the $158 million extended to UDB, UDB is servicing the interest payment on 10 credit lines worth $117 million. And the table is attached therein. Right Honorable Speaker, on page 8, we have the terms for the first batch, which is $40 million from Islamic Development Bank, with the gestation period of 4 years, maturity period of 10 years, and repayment period of 6 years, and a margin of 2.8%. That is to be paid by UDB. In the same vein, Right Honorable Speaker, we also looked at the constitutionality of the loan and
Solomon.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Oweshitiwa, where are you going?
Allow me proceed, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the committee, having considered that and aware that UDB needs funding and aware that this is a guarantee, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the committee therefore recommends that this House approves a proposal by government to guarantee $40 million from the Islamic Development Bank, $30 million from the Islamic Corporation for Development of the Private Sector, and $30 million from the International Islamic Trade Finance. Right Honorable Speaker, for a record, let me repeat this. The committee recommends guaranteeing for Uganda Development Bank Limited to directly borrow up to $40 million from the Islamic Development Bank, $30 million from the Islamic Corporation for Development of the Private Sector, and $30 million from the National Development Bank. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. You're done? Chair, you're finished?
Madam Speaker, the chair is done.
Thank you. Honourable members, you've heard the submission of the chair, and the chair's issue is basically on guaranteeing the loan. Yes, Dr. Pear.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I do support the idea of government guaranteeing loans because there is logic behind it, that it's going to work as a business model and UDB is expected to pay back that money. However, I reiterate the point that was earlier brought forward by colleagues, that it looks as though we are recapitalizing UDB for the benefit of one person or a handful of people. I've been in this house. I've seen companies that should have gotten money from UDB, like Rocco. I've seen Atiak. I've seen another one coming for money from our budget. So I do not know who exactly is getting money from UDB, and I do not know whether the extent to which we've recapitalized it this time will enable the minister to not contaminate the budget, the upcoming budget, with requests of individual companies that should actually access money through UDB but prefer coming and getting it directly from the budget.
Let's not smuggle in other issues. We are seeking for authorization to borrow. We are not discussing issues of Rocco, of Atiak, of who. It is authorization to guarantee money for a financial institution. Yes, Dr. Pear. Dr. Pear, not...
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, and I would like to thank the Chair and the Minister for this submission. I support the guaranteeing and capitalizing UDB as one of those banks that should be positioned to help us in the socio-economic transformation of the country. However, as a guarantor and a taxpayer, I did not hear the report coming out very clearly on what interests are these loans and how does that then translate into the cost of borrowing in this country. Because as we go and borrow as much as we can, it's a good thing to borrow to capitalize. But at what cost, and what would be the cost of that loan to the final person? I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, I did highlight the interest rate, and also for purposes of record, we indicated that in the earlier report this doesn't have an effect on our debt because it is a guarantee which has to be paid by UDB. I also highlighted the different lines of credit. For example, Islamic Development Bank, the margin is 2.8% per annum, and the repayment period is 6 years, with a gestation period of 4 years. Maturity period is 10 years. So that is the interest rate, 2.8% per annum.
Thank you. Jessica, Christine, then you.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I support the request for government to stand in as a grantor and to capitalize UDB. But Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the concern of the country is how can our people benefit? Therefore, we need a commitment. First of all, to make sure that the country gets to know that there's this cheap loan. This is going to help our people even to provide a recovery mechanism as a result of COVID. Two, we have experiences that the procedure is so tedious. Can government look at the procedure on how best people can access this money? Many people have lost their businesses because we don't have a cheaper loan. Can we talk about the effect of the capitalization in relation to a cheaper loan to a local business person? Because this is our hope, this is our savior, but so long as it is limited to a few people, this is going to disadvantage us. Thank you so much. I support the request. Thank you.
As I'd already said, that should be followed up by the sectoral committee. Yes,
thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, I support the motion that UDB needs to be supported and guaranteed by government and capitalized. But Right Honorable Speaker, there was a statement that was made by the Minister about the loan, where he made a statement that the loan doesn't have any impact on the economy of Uganda, especially in relation to the debt burden. The question I have for the Minister and the Chairperson, because the Chairperson also made a statement related to that, assuming that the UDB fails to pay back the loan, don't you think that government will take the responsibility? Don't you think it is still a liability to government? For purposes of the Hansard, that statement needs to be put right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, the honorable colleague is just emphasizing what I said. I said that initially the guarantee will not impact on the government of Uganda debt. But should the bank fail to pay the guarantee, then the government will take the responsibility for the debt. This is what I said.
Naomi?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I find out from the Honorable Minister?
Are you Naomi?
May I find out from the Honorable Minister as to how risky is the possible default is? On a scale of low to high, is it low, moderate, or high? The risk of default.
Is it the MD of UDB?
No, I thought.
No. Okotogo.
Madam Speaker, I want to support this motion, the request of government to guarantee UDB resources to finance many projects in this country. Madam Speaker, I'm supporting this because of 3 reasons. One, the management of UDB is working very well. They're performing. When you read their reports, the rate of default is less than 5%. And any bank that works within that rate, it means it is performing very well. And we need to applaud UDB for what they're doing. Secondly, I'm supporting it because we have generated a number of jobs through UDB. Right now, they are financing over 500 projects. And these projects are generating jobs. I'm very sure about this. Over 50,000 job opportunities have already been created. And I want to appeal to government to, because now they had promised through our manifesto, NRM manifesto, that we shall be financing UDB 500 million every year. I want to know from the minister whether after giving this, they are not honoring their promise. I'm saying you promised 500 billion to UDB every financial year.
Thank you.
Are you still going to do it? Madam Speaker, I want to appeal to government that instead of coming here in piecemeal, because when you look at the loan requests from UDB is like coming to 4 trillion, that the support that they should be giving to the private sector, coming to 4 trillion. So why are you coming in piecemeal? Why don't you come here at once? Now you are only borrowing $40 million, 100 million. When you translate it, it's only about 400 billion. What is required is beyond 400 billion. Why don't you come at once? That you borrow $500 million.
Okay, for now, this is what has been asked. This is what they are borrowing. This is their need. Abim, Honorable Chero.
Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I've risen up, Madam Speaker, to support the motion that UDB be guaranteed to acquire this loan for only 2 major reasons. The first one is that whether we guarantee this loan and they get or not, Ugandans are borrowing money. And money in the market there is very expensive. With my little work as a lawyer in the courts,
People are losing property day in, day out. As we sit here every minute, a Ugandan is losing property, including villagers who borrow from VSLA. They are committing suicide. 8 people are dying because of interest rate. Comrade, I want to beg this country, ladies and gentlemen, that in fact would have even guaranteed this money yesterday. Would be in a hurry to guarantee this money, let UDP get the money. Then we follow the money there. What we must now do, let's mobilize our people to say, comrade, there is cheap money available in Kampala. For me, after this, I'm guaranteeing the money. Madam Speaker and members, I kindly request all of us, let's guarantee this money, let them get the money. From now on, I'm going to mobilize my people. That money is in Kampala, and UDP will receive money. I want to thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Honorable members, I put a question that a motion for resolution of Parliament to authorize government to guarantee Uganda Development Bank Limited to directly borrow up to USD 40 million from the Islamic Development Bank IDB, USD 30 million from Islamic Cooperation for the Development of the Private Sector ICD, and USD 30 million from the International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation. Be approved by this House. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. Let's have it.
Item 6 on the order paper.
Yes, Honorable Atkins.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And now back, Madam Speaker, I asked to raise this procedural issue. Madam Speaker, when you came into office, constitutionally, all of us as a membership are obligated to support you. And I will support you, Madam Speaker. And I will continue to support you. Madam Speaker, my procedural issue is the multiple directives that you've given to the ministers. And I want to bring to the attention of this House, and by extension the executive, 3 fundamental ones. Number 1, the state of our road network. Madam Speaker, it's appalling, extremely appalling. When you want to go to Kasese, taking the Mubende Road, Madam Speaker, it is impassable. You may try to use the Mbarere Road, it is impassable. I don't know, Madam Speaker, whether we're waiting for a situation where your members will come here and ask for helicopters to fly them to their communities. Is that what we're waiting for? I don't want to believe that, because we are here as people's representatives. If you give me a helicopter...
Honorable Atkins, that's a very pertinent issue, but I want to request you that you bring it at the time when the Prime Minister is handling those issues. Because I know some of these ministers, like Minister of Works and the rest, will also be here at that time. So kindly hold it on and we bring it at that time of Prime Minister.
Much appreciated, Madam Speaker. The reason why I was bringing that up is I've seen the Minister for Finance. Madam Speaker, you're familiar that December 7, the President of this nation was in Kasese commissioning the Kikorongo.
No, let's bring it at that time. Let's bring. I'll give you space.
And as you give, as much appreciated, I want to appreciate the Speaker for that opportunity. I'll also be putting on the floor, I've seen my honorable sister, Minister for Energy. This country needs power, and also the Minister for Water. And the fact that the Minister for Water is not yet in the House, Madam Speaker, we can use this time and then to bring in the Minister for Water.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Atkins. Next item.
Item 6 on the order paper. Motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow up to the euro equivalent of United States dollars 190,988,556 from Stanbic Bank for the Umeme Limited buyout.
Honorable members, you recall that on 18th February 2025, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development tabled a proposal to borrow up to euros equivalent to US 190,988,556 from Stanbic Bank for the Umeme Limited buyout. The proposal was referred to the Standing Committee on National Economy and the committee. Committee, are you ready to report?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, we have developed a report that is being signed by the members. So I believe in the next few minutes we shall be in position to present the report.
AG. Honourable members, I am in receipt of a letter from the Minister of Finance, which I will ask the Minister to read at an ample time. But let me first hear from the AG.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, as the Speaker has stated, this matter came to the House on 18th February 2025, and the Minister of Finance and Government appeared before the committee on 25th February 2025. Colleagues, this matter of the Umeme buyout has been with us for a long time. It's a very urgent matter, and the deadline on which we are supposed to present this, to make this payment, ends on 31st. If we don't, there will be penalties and costs. Right Honourable Speaker and members, I request that we suspend the operation of Rule 155.3 in accordance with Rule 16 of the Rules of Procedure, so the Committee of the Whole House considers this request. I beg to...
Thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker, I wanted to report to you that the report of the Committee on National Economy is now ready.
Now, now that the committee is ready, can the Minister move a motion? But before the Minister moves a motion, we have in the public gallery this afternoon, we have Mr. Lubega Nsamba Vincent, the Guild President of Makerere University. Where are you? You're most welcome. He's accompanied by Mr. Kakolwa Joel Ezekiel, Guild member on the Committee of ICT. They are represented by Honorable Nsereko, Honorable Nsereko Mohammed and Honorable Shamim. You're most welcome. Those are your... In the public gallery this afternoon, we also have students and teachers of Kawempe Secondary School from Nansana Municipality. They are represented by Honorable Wakaima Musoke and Honorable Malende and the MP to come and the incoming MP. You're most welcome. Honorable Minister. Yes, Honorable Oguzli.
Madam Speaker, a while ago, we were given the next item on the order paper, and it related to a motion to borrow an equivalent of $225 million from...
Is that what was read?
Yeah, that's what the
No,
clerk
no,
read.
no. Okema. Okema read 190, 998, 556. Let's not misguide this country. That Okema, what did you read?
Right Honorable Speaker, I'll reread the item for the benefit of the member. Motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow up to the euro equivalent of United States dollars 190,988,556 from Stanbic Bank for the Umeme Limited buyout.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Article 159
Madam
of the
Speaker,
Constitution.
you gave me opportunity to raise a
No,
question.
but you are raising wrong issues.
No, you just called Mr. Okema to
Okay,
clarify.
okay, what is your issue?
The other procedural issue is under our rules, as a member, I'm entitled to support of the technical people. And it has just occurred that the report of the majority on this matter, which is being presented, is available. And my minority report, which the clerk's office was processing, is not available to me. So can I invite you to direct the office of the clerk to ensure whatever they have printed is supplied, so that the countries are aware of what is taking place. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Minister, move a motion. You finished?
Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Nguzuli is a member of my committee, and as a chairperson of the committee, I'm aware that there is a minority report that is written by Honorable Tebandeke. I don't know how many minority reports we're supposed to receive as a committee, but I thought the minority would sign one report. They would.
No, we can have more than one. We can have more than one. Let's move on as we wait for the report of Honorable Gozule. Yes.
Madam.
Bugabula, you sit. Why are you seated there?
Madam Speaker, pursuant to Article 159 of the Constitution and Section 34 of the Public Finance Management Act and Rule 155 of our Rules of Procedure, I beg to move a motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow up to euros equivalent of $988,988,556 from Stanbic Bank for the Umeme Limited buyout. I beg to move.
Seconded by Uda, Okumu, Alanyo, Nekesa, Ricky, Mtembule, Aru, Joan, Isaac, Basil, Peter, Mitoma, Ogwang, Annette, Noah, Maureen, Max, Palisa, Gogonyo, Kumi, John, Chankwanzi, Achan, Ibanda, Dokolo, Shema, Honorable Feta, Jessica, Mitiwa, Ibanda, Dr. Mushemesa, Kiza, Acrobat, and Omoding, and Abim. Yes, would you speak to your motion?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, the justification for this motion is as follows. The electricity distribution network, currently managed by Umeme Limited and other small distribution operators, has faced a significant challenge, including the need for continued investment to upgrade, refurbish, and improve system performance. Despite considering private sector investment over the past 20 years, issues of access, affordability, reliability, quality of supply, and quality of service persists, necessitating a more sustainable, timely, and a competitive funding mechanism to support the distribution network's long-term availability. This is critical to address the high cost of private capital and its impact on electricity affordability. Government's decision not to renew the concession for Umeme Limited is therefore driven by the need to eliminate expensive private capital and optimize low-cost concessional or public financing in the distribution network, while maintaining prudent utility best practices and efficiency of service delivery in alignment with the national vision and the goals enshrined in the energy policy of 2023. As the concession for Umeme Limited comes to an end, government is obligated to compensate Umeme Limited for the unrecoverable capital investments following the Auditor General's valuation and confirmation of the buyout amount claimed by Umeme Limited in accordance with the lease and assignment agreement. Securing the buyout amount and capital investment to UEDCL by government is expected to further enhance the electricity tariff affordability and therefore support the national industrialization aspirations. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the proposal by Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development is that government should immediately secure the funding required for the buyout amount due to the Umeme Limited and UEDCL's capital investment requirements in the distribution network after takeover to ensure a smooth transition in the management of electricity distribution sector after expiry of the Umeme Concession Limited. What are the terms, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, the terms and conditions of this loan are the following. The loan amount is 190,988,556 US dollars. The tenure is 5 years with a grace period of 6 months. The interest rate is 6 months Euribor plus margin, and the interest period is semi-annually. Commitment fees is nil for an availability period of 30 days, and the margin is 4.7% per annum, and this includes insurance by ATD. Arrangement fees is 1.2% of the total facility amount paid upfront, and the default interest is 2%. Madam Speaker, I presented the detailed justification and the background and all the necessary information to the committee, and I want to believe that this has formed part of the committee report. In the interest of time, Madam Speaker, I beg to submit and pray that the House considers and approves this borrowing. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. You've also written a letter to me on the proposal to borrow. Could you read that letter? I've given you permission to read the letter you have written to me.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The letter is dated 20th March 2025, addressed to Right Honorable Speaker, Parliament of Uganda, Kampala. Subject: the proposal for government to borrow up to euro equivalent to US dollars 190,988,556 from Stanbic Bank for the Umeme buyout. Right Honorable Speaker, I refer to the above mentioned loan, which I laid on the floor of Parliament on 18th February 2025 and presented to the Committee on National Economy on 25th February 2025. The government requests to borrow the amount of euro equivalent to US dollars 190,988,556 was based on the guidance of the Auditor General's draft special audit report for the end of the lease and assignment agreement between Umeme Limited and Uganda Electricity Distribution Company of January 2025. Once the loan is approved by Parliament, government will only pay out to Umeme the amount verified and approved or recommended by the Auditor General as the payment due to Umeme before the end of 31st March 2025. If the required payment is lower than the eventual amount verified and or recommended by the Auditor General, then the balance of the loan will be cancelled and the cancelled portion will not form part of the government debt. After the Umeme buyout has been concluded, a report on the actual payment made will be provided to this House. The financing terms of the Umeme buyout remain as I presented, Right Honorable Speaker. Given the urgency of this matter, I seek your support to have the loan approved by Parliament to enable us obtain the funds to pay Umeme before their concession expires on 31st of March 2025. Signed by myself.
Can you lay this on table so that it forms part of the record of this House?
Madam Speaker, I beg to lay a letter which attests to our commitment to pay the amount due to Umeme as certified and approved by the Auditor General. I beg to lay.
Please lay. Thank you. That forms part of the recommendations that will be acted upon on Umeme. And it is not that whatever the 190 is going to be the payout. It is what will be audited and what will be presented by the Auditor General. Yes, Chair?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I also want to thank the Minister for moving the motion and giving a justification. Right Honorable Speaker, before I read the report of the committee, allow me lay the report of the committee, including the minority report of one of the members of the committee and the minutes of the committee. May I lay this on table?
Please lay.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister has already given the House the title of the report. Allow me re-echo that. Right Honorable Speaker, you referred this loan to the Committee of National Economy on the 18th of February, and the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development officially presented it to the committee on the 25th of February, and the committee therefore started scrutinizing the loan. Right Honorable Speaker, while scrutinizing the loan, the Committee on National Economy held a meeting with various entities. We had a meeting with the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Uganda Electricity Distribution Company, UEDCL, Uganda Electricity Regulatory Authority, Office of the Auditor General, and we also interfaced, as leadership, we interfaced with the committee, the leadership of the Committee on Natural Resources. While reviewing the report, while working on the report, the Committee on National Economy also reviewed the following documents. We had a brief on the proposal to borrow, the term facility agreement between the Government of Uganda, presented by Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development as a borrower, and Stanbic Bank, Standard Bank of South Africa and Stanbic Bank Uganda Limited as mandated as a lead arranger and a book runner. Standard Bank of South Africa Limited as a facility agent and a financial institution as the original lender. The committee also reviewed the LA, that is the lease and assignment agreement 2024 relating to the distribution and supply of electricity in Uganda. The committee also looked at the lease and assignment agreement as amended in 2005, and then the Umeme buyout draft mandate letter. Allow me, Right Honorable, I'm going to give the House a narrative on the buyout. Right Honorable Speaker, in line with the lease and assignment agreement, Umeme submitted a claim of Uganda US dollars 235,978,667 US dollars, which is above the 225.75 million US dollars earlier estimated by Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. The draft special audit report for the end of the lease and assignment agreement between Umeme and UEDCL has estimated the buyout amount as US dollars 190,988,566. The information from the regulator, that is Electricity Regulatory Authority, indicated that in the initial estimate of Umeme buyout amount as in September 2023, communicated to the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, was US dollars 225.75 million, and it has since reduced to 127 million, 127.66 million US dollars in March 2025. The amount keeps changing based on the additional investments made by Umeme and recoveries from the end user tariffs. The total estimated investment by Umeme, as approved and verified by ERA, amounted cumulatively to 746.798 million US dollars, inclusive of the 10.84 million US dollars to be invested by end of March 2025. The total amount recovered cumulatively by Umeme, according to ERA records, is US dollars 625.22 million US dollars, leaving a balance of 127.66 million US dollars unrecovered, as presented in the table above. Right Honorable Speaker, if this is uploaded, members would see cumulatively how Umeme has been investing, how Umeme has been recovering over the last 20 years of the concession, leaving unrecovered amount of about 121.576 million US dollars unrecovered, plus a markup of 5%, that pushes it to 127.655 million US dollars. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister has already given the terms of the loan. May you allow me go through the conditions of the loan. Right Honorable Speaker, this loan is accompanied with by conditions that this Parliament is supposed to approve. The conditions precedent to the first drawdown of the loan are: A, execution of the facilities document by the borrower in form and substance mutually accepted to all parties. B, a statement confirming no event of default or potential event of default is continuing or would result from the drawdown, and that all representations and warranties are true on the date of the drawdown request. The copies of the relevant parliamentary approvals are all other evidence of authority advised by government counsel to the lender, including authorizing legislation of the borrower or the ministerial decision as appropriate. A specimen signatures of authorized signatories who can commit the borrower in respect of the facility. E, the evidence of the appointment of the process agent, being the High Commissioner or any officer of the Republic's High Commission in the United Kingdoms. F, a satisfactory legal opinion from English and Ugandan legal counsel to the MLS, the facility agent, and the lenders. G, the legal and capacity opinion from the Attorney General, solely as the matter of Uganda law. H, the evidence of payment of all fees, costs, and expenses then due and payable by the borrower under the facility document. I, a statement signed by the Minister of Finance confirming that after drawdown of the full facility amount, the borrower is still within the cap still set by Parliament pursuant to the Public Finance Management Act and all the relevant borrowing legislation and regulation, together with the certificate from the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, or the Minister of Finance as the borrowing cap. J, a certification copy documents. K, affirmation from the Attorney General that all relevant governmental or regulatory approval have been duly obtained. H, a satisfactory know your customer documentation being completed for the borrower by the MLS and the lenders. And M, a copy of any other document, authorization, opinion, or assurance specified by the facility agent under the advice of the Lenders Council. Right Honorable Speaker, the constitutionality of this loan. Right Honorable Speaker, the nominal value of the loan is 988,566 dollars. The present value of the loan is US dollars 213.37 million, equivalent to 810.8 billion Uganda shillings. The total debt service of the loan is 235.41 million US dollars, equivalent to 894.6 billion Uganda shillings. The grant element is negative 11.7% and the discount rate at a discount rate of 5%. The present value of the loan, Right Honorable Speaker, the total future payment value of the loan is 235.4 after the loan period of 5 years. This loan is a commercial since its grant element is negative 11.7%, which is significantly lower than the concessional value of limit of 35%. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me go to the committee recommendations. observations and recommendations. Observation number 1, end of natural term of Umeme. The lease assignment agreement between Umeme Limited and the government of Uganda provided that at the end of 28th February 2025, the agreement comes to a natural expiry. Section 3.13 of the Umeme Lease and Assignment Agreement stipulates that from the end of the natural term until termination of this agreement, the company's obligation in respect of the operation and maintenance of the distribution system under privatization agreement shall be limited to using commercially responsible efforts to operate and distribute and distribution systems in accordance with a prudent utility practice, and to maintain the distribution system in its condition as of the end of the natural term. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this agreement, the company will have the right to stop performing all its obligations 30 days after the end of the natural term, except for those obligations that expressly survive termination, provided, however, that as of the date the company ceases performance of its obligation to operate and maintain the distribution system. As such obligations may be modified in accordance with Section 3.1, subsection D, UEDCL or its assignee will then have the immediate right to step in and take possession of the lease agreement, operate and maintain the leased assets, including collecting payments for electricity from retail consumers, and use the assigned interests and other rights, assets or other rights provided further, notwithstanding UEDCL's possession of the leased assets, operations and maintenance of the leased assets, and the use of the assigned interests and other rights. UEDCL shall not transfer any means, let or assign the leased assets, assigned interests and other rights to any third party until the buyout amount is paid in full by government of Uganda. The committee observed as follows. Government is required to carry out the audit of the performance of the lease and assignment agreement. The lease and assignment agreement provides steps of the audit process included the dates of submission of the estimated buyout amount by Umeme Limited. Accordingly, the Minister of Finance wrote to the Auditor General requesting him or her to undertake that audit process. The Auditor General appointed a consultant, that is MS Grant Samson, CPA, in April 2024 to undertake a special audit on her behalf based on specific terms and references. The office has since provided 2 draft reports from the consultant and subsequently held a meeting with the stakeholders. The authority to approve and verify investigations on an annual basis is vested in the sector regulator, that is ERA. Cumulative investments and returns on investments and all other related costs are recovered through the tariff. ERA derives this authority in Section 15 and 16 of the Electricity Act 1999, Cap 145. The Board of ERA enjoys the exclusive statutory authority to determine all matters that have effect of increasing or decreasing the end user tariff. Whereas government is requesting for authorization of Parliament to borrow up to $988,556 million to buy out Umeme, the regulator ERA estimated the resultant buyout at the end of the concession as at 31st March 2023, plus the uncovered investment adjusted by 5% as provided for the support agreement is $27.655 million US dollars. While the Auditor General is supposed to give the final figure, has not concluded its audit. The Auditor General informed the committee that he needs time to finalize the audit process and come up with the final figure by 28th of March 2025, without which government can base on to buy out Umeme. There are timelines required for the buyout and the conditions for the loan effectiveness. Even after parliamentary approval, any delays in paying the buyout in paying the buyout amount attracts penalties, costs pursuant to Section 12 of the support agreement, which among others provides that in the case of the expiry of the natural term, unless the transfer of the lease asset and payment of the buyout amount is delayed by the company from and after the date, that is 30 days following the end of the natural term, Government of Uganda shall pay the company interest on any outstanding portion of the buyout amount at a rate per annum equal to 10% for the period from 30 days until 45 days. After the end of the natural term, 15% for the period 46 days until 90 days. And after the end of the natural term, 20% for the period from and after 91 days after the end of the natural term until Government of Uganda pays the buyout amount in full. Following the end of concession agreement, Umeme has to exit and UEDCL has to take over immediately and start providing all the necessary services which were formerly under the provisions and supervision of Umeme, including taking over all the capital investments. In order for UEDCL to maintain efficient continuity of what Umeme has been doing, there is need to avail UEDCL with adequate financing so that it is able to recruit and train human resource, maintain the already existing infrastructure, and clear all the outstanding liabilities that could have been inherited from Umeme. UEDCL informed the committee that UEDCL informs the committee that UEDCL requires capitalization worth $50 million US dollars for initial investment after Umeme has left, since the tariff approval by ERA should only enable them to fund operations and maintenance of inherited assets from Umeme. However, this amount is not yet secured. Therefore, failure to allocate this money implies that UEDCL will not be able to carry out any additional investments in the distribution of electricity in this country. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee therefore recommends that, given that the Auditor General has not determined the final buyout amount, and considering the period remaining to come to the end of the lease and assignment agreement, the Auditor General expeditiously reconciles with ERA, UEDCL, and the Auditor General to determine the Umeme payout cost and submit it to Parliament to guide the approval of the loan request. Right Honorable Speaker, the constraint that the committee had is on the cost of the buyout. And this tore us into two. Some members, actually majority of the members, were saying we could wait for the report of the Auditor General, that the auditor had promised that by 28th of February, they should be in position, by 28th of March, they should be in position to give this. When we had an interface with the Office of the Auditor General, a few days ago, they requested that they could be given 1 week up to Tuesday next week for them to be able to come up with a buyout figure. This constrained the committee members, and it constrained me personally as a chairperson. I tried to convince the members, and the members gave their position that given their observations and recommendations, the committee recommends that government approval to borrow up to euros of US dollars equivalent to $190,988,556 from Stanbic Bank for Umeme buyout be halted until the report of the Auditor General is presented to Parliament. I beg to move.
Honorable Chair, when is the deadline for Umeme to be here?
Right Honorable Speaker, after the natural expiry of the concession agreement, 30 days are given, and for which we are within the 30 days, which ends on the 31st of March 2025, which is ideally about 9 days
from now.
Right.
So you want us to wait and approve it on 28th? How long does it take for you for finance to process a loan? Honorable members, let's put all this into consideration. One, are we ready to buy Umeme from? Then the other issue is the time aspect. We should be able to look at all that, those other issues. Yes, Richard.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The chairperson of the committee informed us that there is a minority report.
No, we just wanted a clarification before we got the minority report.
And that's why I'm seeking your
Yes.
guidance.
No, I just wanted a clarification.
No, can I
yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to oppose the recommendation by committee.
No, we have not started a debate.
Then let me clarify
Yes.
as follows.
He's going to do.
Madam
Eki,
Speaker,
do you want to come and chair this house?
Madam Speaker, we need to.
I am the one who has asked for a clarification. Yes.
Madam Speaker, why we want this process to continue? There is a timing, there are timelines. If we are to pass this resolution today, we need not less than a week to manage the next steps. By the fact that if Parliament decides that we go up to next week, there is a high risk that we shall not conclude this process by end of March. And this will take us outside our commitments.
Thank you.
Remember.
Honorable Tevandeke, thank you. Honorable Tevandeke.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Tebandeke, let's get the minority report. Let's get a minority report.
Minority report on the Committee of National Economy for a proposal to borrow up to US dollar 190 millions 988 556 from Stanbic Bank for Meme Limited buyout under Rule 200 of our Rules of Procedure. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm aware that any delay of the buyout of this loan costs the taxpayers' money interest to Meme on an outstanding rate of 10% per annum for the period of 30 to 40 days after natural term, a 15% for 46 to 90 days, and a 20% for a period after 91 days, till government buys out the amount in full. However, Right Honorable Speaker, my areas of dissent are two. One is non-compliance with the constitutional provision, and the two is non-compliance with the rules of procedure of Parliament. My point of dissent, number one, non-compliance to the constitutional provision. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Article 119, Clause 3 and 4 of our Constitution explains the establishment and the roles of the Office of the Attorney General. In this article, it is very clear that the Attorney General shall be the government's principal legal advisor, draw and peruse agreements, contracts, treaties, conventions, and the documents, whatever have been called to the government. Right Honorable Speaker, in this very provision, the work of the Attorney General has been not defined. Additionally, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Article 163, Clause 3 and B explains the establishment of the Office of the Auditor General. In the article, the Auditor General is mandated, I think the Attorney General is here, where the law explains, uses the terminology shall, it is non-debatable. The Attorney General shall conduct financial, Auditor General shall conduct financial and value for money audits in respect for any project involving public fund. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the money we are approving as a loan is not mine, neither is it yours, but for Ugandans as a public, where the Auditor General, as a custodian, mandated to give us authenticity value for us to approve the loan, has not acquainted us with the report. I'm wondering, where are we getting the mandate to approve this loan? Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, this is, for this special request, the Auditor General's office requested the committee, when appeared, to be given a week to have a report ready, establishing clear amount that Umeme buyout is amounting to. Right Honorable Speaker, a week from now may not even take the whole time for the Auditor General to come up with a report. And where delays have been accrued by his own making, why should this House carry on the cross at the expense of the reasons that are not so clear and known? Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, approving this loan request without the Auditor General's office clearance makes us proceed arguably. Whereas the request of the $190 million in the recent supplementary request, Parliament approved the same. The CEO of ERA, reports the CEO of ERA The report of the CEO of ERA quoted $127 million for recoveries. I feel there is an coordination between UMEME and the Auditor General and the Ministry of Finance that expect the contrasting amount for the buyout. Right, Honorable Speaker, there are two contrasting figures that are required for the buyout. There is $190 million and the $127 million. The two figures are contrasting, much as the committee agreed that should only approve in exclusion, where $127 million can be given authority to be borrowed, pending the $190 million. A question of contrast is one. What if the Auditor General's report comes out tomorrow and the figure is below the 127? Or when the figure is above the $190 million?
Honorable members, I don't know whether we speak the same English in this house. Because there was a letter which was written, and the letter is here. It was laid. It is part of the documents of this house that in the circumstance that the buyout is less than the 190, what is only going to be disbursed will only be the amount that has been approved by the Auditor General. Yes.
Right Honorable, thank you. Right Honorable, I'm at pain as a committee member when the colleague who is presenting the minority report spent the whole time like us in the committee meeting, and we decided to stop everything until we get the report, the Auditor General's report. Is here saying that the committee accepted to pass the 127 contrary to the 190, yet the committee didn't pass any figure. Because any other information, the committee was not privy to any other information, including Right Honorable now that you have given us that letter, which is saying that if the Auditor General comes up with a report saying the figure is 150, they will only disburse 150. Right Honorable, the committee was not privy to that letter. So I'm wondering whether
that's why I asked them to lay it on table. It's okay, let the member finish his report.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes, procedure matter.
Right Honorable Speaker, this House would benefit from the member who is submitting on minority report if there was critical points of dissent. This is the first time that we are getting one report submitted twice. One is just either for emphasis, he could have told us that this is for emphasis. So far, whatever the honorable member has said can only help in emphasizing the committee main report. Can the honorable member from Bali be clear to this House? Is he proceeding which from Bali? Right Honorable Speaker, are we proceeding well when the same report is split into two?
Honorable Tebandeke, are you just making emphasis of what was in the other report or what?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. In the report of the majority report of the committee, there is nothing like a matter of constitutionalism, and the law has not been quoted. Right Honorable Speaker,
Honorable,
I have a point of dissent.
You can't say there is no matter of constitutionalism. You're just a law student who has... No. No, I don't want you to learn on very critical issues. On constitutional issues, you don't bring learning in the house. Let's learn from out there. Anyway, honorable member, you're raising matters that have been raised on the major report. So can you conclude with your emphasis?
Right, Honorable Speaker. I have a point on non-compliance with the rules of procedure of this parliament. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Which rule?
Right, Honorable Speaker. Allow me go through, since I'm presenting. Then I'm going to quote the rule. But for your point of consumption, Rule 155, you can keep on going through as I present.
Hey.
Right, Honorable Speaker. This house is...
There is an order.
Thank you, Right Honorable. Right Honorable, a few days ago when the chairman of Rules Committee was here, there is a language he was telling us to always use which should be parliamentary. And when you are addressing the speaker, you should be civil. Honorable Tebandeke, when you asked him about the rule, he was saying you allow him to read, but for your consumption, he gave the rule. I'm wondering whether Honorable Tebandeke is in order to respond to the chair in that mode, and is telling the custodian of the law for consumption to read as is presenting.
You see, I've always said, not all of us are brought up. Some of us grow up. Go ahead.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your guidance. There is a member who promised to box someone, but I'm not of such a caliber. Right Honorable Speaker, in approving this loan, other subsequent requests by the ministry responsible for finance, our hands as Parliament remained tied in reference to Rule 155, Part 5, and Rule 155, Part 5B of the Rules of Procedure, and also Rule 155, 5K of the Rules of Procedure, which mandates this House, before approving any loan, must have a thorough assessment for the loan performance.
Let's move slowly. Rule 155, 5. Honorable Katuntu. Rule 155, 5. Please. I want you to guide the member. 155, 5. So that we quote the right rules.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I wish we can benefit from Honorable Tibandeke on how Rule 55 is being breached. Then I can be of assistance.
You know, what we are doing now here is lowering. We are learning law on the floor. You get it, eh? Maybe I can understand you, Honorable Tebaneke. He's in his second year doing law. Please, go ahead, finish. You finish.
Right Honorable Speaker.
You go to the report.
I wanted to stand a correction on what I've quoted. However, by your guidance, Right Honorable Speaker, the committee has not carried out any oversight to establish whether the performance of Umeme is fit in the previous loans that have always been approved by this House. And there is no clear clarity whether the status quo of Umeme that ECDL wants to take over, the assets which have been mentioned are not known and clear to this House and the committee in processing the report. Therefore, I recommend as follows, Right Honorable Speaker. I do recommend that the House gives the committee ample time to scrutinize this loan request in its totality. In reference to government through the Office of the Attorney General reviews and wipes off the interest accrued to Umeme in case the buyout has delayed.
Thank you.
I request more that the Office of the Auditor General, in compliance with the report to the majority, is given enough time per his request so that it can give us authenticity on the actual figure that is required to buy out this loan. Right Honorable Speaker, the Committee on National Economy is required to visit all the projects under Umeme before passing out this loan, buyout loan, to establish whether those projects do exist. Right Honorable Speaker, there are also other agencies that were contracted privately to work under Umeme, and those agencies have not been brought on board. The layout table from the main the report of the majority committee has not listed all the agencies that were contracted under Umeme. For instance, IMAT Technical Service, where I got even a petition, they wanted to access your office, but they have not yet. So all those dilemmas need to be harmonized and get to know exactly what are we passing and which buyout are we going to buy. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, Umeme is listed as a company where Ugandans who own share in Umeme should also be briefed on the status of their shares. How are they going to access their shares? Are they considered by this loan, or we shall get some other time and pass another loan in this guise of the same?
Thank you.
I beg to submit.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable members, in the public gallery this afternoon we have Mr. Ogwal Pascal and Otim Ambrose, constituents from Atikbere Sako. Welcome. They are represented, they are from Kwania district. They are represented by Honorable Ayotoni and Honorable Auma Kelly. Tony, you first greet my people. Where is Kelly? She's coming, eh? Okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. I welcome the team from Kwania to Parliament. They are circle leaders, and as you are aware, our plan is to mobilize majority of Uganda under SACCO, and they have come to register their cooperative. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming to your Parliament. Honorable members, in the VIP gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation from the Kingdom of Eswatini. You're most welcome. We have the Right Honorable Madala, who is the Deputy Speaker of Parliament of Eswatini. You're most welcome, Right Honorable. Welcome. We have Honorable Mamba, a Member of Parliament of Eswatini. You're most welcome. We have Mr. Timothy Sipo, who is an Auditor General of Eswatini. Thank you, welcome. And they are accompanied by Mr. Quinino Bamwine, the Honorable Council. You're most welcome. You're welcome to Parliament of Uganda. Then we have Honorable Warren Wambabazi, Member of Parliament and Chairperson of Public Accounts Committee. Honorable Warren is there. You're most welcome. And then we have Honorable Likando Mufalali, the Deputy Government Chief Whip. You're most welcome. This Honorable members had come to Uganda to attend the just concluded AfroPark conference, which was hosted by Parliament of Uganda. I'll introduce the remaining ones. They have been here to attend the AfroPark conference, which was hosted by Parliament of Uganda, and Honorable Segona Medad is the chair of AfroPark. And is a chairperson of Kosase Park in Uganda. You're almost welcome. Thank you so much for coming to our parliament and to Uganda. The team from Eswatini, you're very smart. These members want to see you again. Right, Honorable. Right, Honorable, don't get tired of...
Madam Speaker, I thank you for recognizing that traditions and customs are things Africans cannot trade for anything. So people who bring proposals that undermine these values must reflect on them. I'm here as a member of the National Committee to highlight some key issues I've departed on. Madam Speaker, you will agree with me. I just got this document here. It may not have reflected my true intention, but I want to say the majority committee has made a summary recommendation on why this loan should be given a little bit of time so that the underlying issues can be reflected. For example, in the leasing and the assignment agreement, there's an account called the escrow account on which Omeme has been paying rent and other incomes and withdrawing. To date, nobody in this country knows what that account is holding. And yet this same agreement provides that if there are any obligations, they can be paid from that account. This is something the Auditor General is supposed to cater for. Two, Madam Speaker, there's what we call liquidity facility in the in the leasing and license agreement. What that facility does is, if government is not able to meet any obligations to Umeme, the guarantee under that facility can actually be invoked. Up to now, we cannot understand why we have chosen to do borrowing when that option...
We're in which page?
On page 2, which talks about the compliance of this law with this borrowing with our laws and the agreements we have executed.
So?
And I did give a disclaimer that I may not go to the details, but I wanted to highlight things that the Attorney General could respond to. Because one of the opportunities we missed was to engage the Attorney General. You are aware, Article 119 mandates that the Attorney General must be part of every agreement government enters into. And before any loan is passed by this House, we must have been, as a committee, satisfied that the Attorney General has reviewed those conditions and is in agreement.
Okay.
Honorable members, one of the conditions in this agreement is that we must waive our immunity. This agreement, the way I've read it, it erodes our sovereignty. Why? We are being subjected to the laws of English laws. Because I have the draft agreement here, I will lay them. That if we have disputes, we will resolve them in London. That undermines Article 129, which sets up our courts. That undermines the supremacy of our laws. Article 2.2 of our Constitution makes our laws very supreme. And if we waive these obligations, it means we have waived our sovereignty. Madam Speaker, one of the things I would expect the Minister of Energy to respond to, which we did not have the opportunity for, is UECD's, UECDL's takeover readiness. Can I make my submission? Up to now, we are going to inherit.
Can you respect the member?
We are going to inherit assets from Omeme, but we have no asset register. We don't know what we are paying for. Who can answer that question affirmatively?
They will answer.
What is the government of Uganda paying for, and where are these assets? What are the liabilities of Omeme? Are there people they dealt with that we are supposed to pay? Do they have tax obligations? They are supposed to be environmental compliance issues that should be reported on. They are nowhere. So what if these liabilities come to government? Who shall we point to? Madam Speaker, I have a letter, I have a submission from the Ministry of Finance. One of it is what we call the mandate letter. This mandate letter shows what the lenders are willing to offer us. If you read the figures here, it's talking about 225. That is what they committed to give us. And yet minister is bringing a proposal for 190. Whose figure is the truthful one? If we are borrowing 190, where is the offer letter for that borrowing from any bank? These are things we must be able to reconcile. Madam Speaker, if you could just allow me conclude. Our laws say anybody who makes tax, who earns income in this country must pay tax. The conditions in this agreement, which I would expect the Attorney General to respond to, they waive the tax obligations on the lenders. Why? And what is the procedure for waiving tax obligation? This is what I invite the House to pay attention to before you approve any law.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not only that, if I could... Madam Speaker, I want to lay on record these documents, but before I lay them, I have read the amended...
What are you laying?
The documents which I will read.
Which ones?
The documents that were submitted to the committee by the Ministry of Finance.
No, the documents have been laid by the chairperson.
They have not laid any document, and if I'm laying contrary one, the record must be able to capture. Madam Speaker, most importantly, I have an amendment of the leasing and assignment agreement. And on that agreement, there was an investment by government of Uganda using a loan from African Development Bank. And that investment is being claimed by Omeme as unrecovered. Why should we have been investing in substations through loans. We have been building lines. Why should someone come and claim this thing as the investment, and you want this process to be rubber stamped without Auditor General doing good work? So today, this country must watch whether they have elected MPs to come and represent their interests here, or they are working in somebody's interest. Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, let nobody intimidate you. Nobody should intimidate you. No.